Parenting becomes even trickier as your child grows older and starts making their own decisions, some good, some bad, and they start finding their own friends. We first saw this article in the New York Daily News. What do you do if your child is making friends with someone you don't like as a parent? Karen, can you relate?
Just a little bit. So I decided to bring in an expert. We have Dr. Eileen Kennedy-Moore. Good morning to you. Thank you for coming in. You're up in Princeton. Thanks for coming down. You've written all kinds of books about this kind of issue as well. Yeah, you have 4 kids. You got your bona fides on that one. So you ever had friends of theirs that you didn't like?
Well, there are always ones that I prefer more than the others. But starting in preschool, children actually develop their own preferences about who they like to hang out with. And sometimes it can help if we think about or ask them, what is it that you like about that child? That can help us to be more understanding.
Interestingly, you say, if I may not like a child particularly, that they have to make their own friends, and it's like I shouldn't try to intervene because they need to make their own choices rather than banning someone that you may not care for?
If you ban them completely, they get the allure of the forbidden. So we want to be careful about that. It's also likely that your kid is going to come to the other kid and says, my mom says I'm not allowed to play with you, and that makes you look mean. So we don't want to do that. At the same time, though, we do want to try to influence them to choose kind friends.
So in my house, so say I have friends that stay over too long. They may have an issue where like maybe they're neighbors and you can't get rid of them. How do I control that situation where I have kids that I don't really like in my house for hours?
That one you can absolutely set limits on and just say, we have family plans. Family plans could be, we're going to have a meal or a breakfast without a tired child, so you need to go home. But it's absolutely fine to set limits and say, okay, time to head home.
Now, how about when it comes to, we think that the kid is maybe mean, or it's like, it's a disaster waiting to happen and you don't like that scenario, what do you do?
That's a very hard situation. When you can see a child being not so kind to your child, that can get all of our mother lioness instincts going. But children need to learn to deal with these kind of kids most of the time. Unless it's a case of absolute bullying, where there's a power difference between your child and the other child, we want to help guide our kids. We want to be the supporting cast to help our children learn the skills. If we leap in too quickly to intervene, to protect them, say, don't worry, I'll handle this, we steal our children's opportunity to learn those important social skills.
So let's talk about that. How about in school? What do you do when you have a situation and you want to be a little bit hands-off? What are the skills I need to give them to deal with that in school?
I would start with talking with your child about how do you feel when you're with this kid? And what do you think a good friend is like? Then you can segue into, so is this person a good friend? And help them think about it. Often children will stick with a not so nice friend because they feel like they don't have any options. So trying to get other options, fan the flames on other friendships, or help them join
a new group, clubs,
that
groups,
would be a
different
good idea.
activities, so they can have other friends you may like more.
Also, teaching your child to speak up, to say, this isn't fun for me, I want to turn, or just say, that was a mean thing to say, and walk away.
Can you yell at other kids?
It's not a good idea. The other parent is going to respond badly because if you yell at their kid, it's kind of like saying, you're a slacker, Mom, because you're not dealing with your little demon here. So they're not going to respond well to that.
How about social media? It's such a prevalent thing where we're seeing so much bullying there. What do you do with that?
It is. So the research tells us that for most children, their online activity supports and supplements their face-to-face friendships. But especially if your child is younger than high school, you need to be keeping an eye on things. And you need to teach your child how to navigate the online world. They need to know that anything they say online could be announced over morning announcements at school. So
and
it's
shared
not
with
private.
all of their friends.
Exactly. It is not private. A screenshot can share it all over. So help them to make kind choices in how they do that. Also teach them, if you encounter something that is kind of over your head, promise them you will not freak out. You will not take their gadgets away forever and ever, and that they will not be in trouble if they come to you.
That's a good tip. That is a good tip. Doctor, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. That's a lot to unpack right there, but that's a good tip. Not freak out. I'm going to work on that one. My kids know that well. All right, Mike.
I used to freak out all the time. Hey, she's good.